Be warned, this video will contain spoilers. FBI Season 8 Episode 5 might not have been a flawless installment, but it finally reminded me why I fell in love with the show in the first place. Even without OA, and despite the frustrating ongoing cast rotation, this episode delivered a story that actually carried emotional weight and moral complexity. It was one of the few recent episodes that made me sit up and care about what was happening, rather than just following another formulaic case. Right from the start, the hour sets a tense tone. It opens with what looks like a random murder, only to spiral into something far deeper. When a young girl suddenly disappears from the beach, it feels like the show is about to dive into a rare missing persons storyline. But that twist gets flipped almost immediately. The girl is found, and her father is killed right in front of her mother. That setup could have easily been predictable, but instead, it pulls the audience into a layered mystery that keeps escalating. There's even a sense that the girl's abduction might have been a setup to get to her dad, a thread the show frustratingly never pulls on, but it adds a sense of unease to the whole case. The investigation leads the team to Alvin, a man tied to a trafficking ring whose death becomes the spark for something much bigger. When the agents discover that Salma, one of the victims, is in New York and potentially connected to the killings, the story shifts gears. After 2 intense shootouts, Salma is captured, and instead of a cold-blooded murderer, we find one of the most sympathetic killers the series has ever portrayed. Her motives aren't about revenge for herself. They're about saving others from the same horrors she endured. She's hunting down her former traffickers, trying to free other victims before they meet the same fate she once escaped. The emotional high point comes when Maggie and Eva burst into a room and find Salma kneeling over the lifeless body of Fatima, another girl who didn't make it out in time. That scene was devastating. You could feel the heartbreak on both sides, for the agents who wanted to save her and for Salma, who'd been fighting to save others when no one saved her. Her trauma is written all over her face, and by the time she's reunited with her family, it's clear how long and hard her road has been. But what really stings is the outcome. Despite everything she suffered, she ends up receiving a harsher sentence than the crown prince who helped orchestrate the trafficking in the first place. Watching Eva react to that injustice gave the episode its emotional punch. She voiced exactly what so many viewers were thinking, that the system failed this girl twice. Now, one aspect of the episode that's sparking conversation is the decision to make the prince behind the trafficking Arab. It's hard to ignore how that choice lands in today's climate, especially with growing Islamophobia in the real world. Without OA there to offer a counterbalance or perspective, it felt like a missed opportunity for the show to handle that angle with more nuance. And while the episode might have drawn loose inspiration from real-life scandals like Prince Andrew's, the idea of a royal abusing power and hiding behind immunity, it leaned heavily into uncomfortable stereotypes that didn't feel necessary to make the story compelling. Still, the tension between Isabel and Anna over the Crown Prince's arrest gave the episode a sharp political edge. Isabel wanted to do the right thing, but she was up against the unshakable wall of diplomatic immunity. The surprising twist came when Anna turned out to be the one pulling strings behind the scenes to ensure justice in her own way, even if it meant crossing moral lines herself. That move added another layer of complexity, suggesting that justice in this world is rarely clean or fair. Overall, this episode brought back some of the emotional depth and moral conflict that used to define FBI. It wasn't perfect, but it finally gave us a case that mattered, one that left you thinking long after the credits rolled. What did you think of the episode? Do you think Salma deserved a lighter sentence, or do you feel justice was served in the end? And how do you feel about the show tackling such heavy real-world parallels without OA there to balance the story? Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm really curious to hear how you all interpreted this one.